All right, we're back for episode 41 of the Idiot Circle. I'm Mike.
I'm Fred.
I'm Rob.
And folks, we are happy to have a local Marine City gentleman that now lives in Marysville and is a lawyer in Marine City. And he's now the voice of the Marysville Vikings, Mr. Bob Beaton. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing great, bud. Thanks for having me on.
Should have said
that's
Esquire.
awesome.
Esquire.
Yeah, Esquire. Do you say Esquire after?
No,
your
I
name?
just say the man,
man.
the myth, the legend.
A man that hangs his shingle, right? I mean, that's really what it's all about, right, Bob? Hanging.
You got
the
it.
Shingle. Yep.
Just out there working, making a living, trying to help people out.
Good.
Yep. He's a good man.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here on the Idiot Circle. Bob.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked out thus
Helping
far.
people out.
Yep.
I just love the title of the show, The Idiot Circle, because it just, brings back memories when I was growing up.
Oh yeah.
That's the effect we were hoping that some people, would have on some people. So that's good.
Yeah. So, well, since nice segue there, Bob. So let's start off with that. Just why don't you just tell us like a little bit about yourself? Where you grew up from, and why don't you give us some of the memories that you remember of the Idiot Circle when you cruised it back when you were at Holy Cross, the home of the Crusaders.
Yeah. So our family came from Scotland, and then they immigrated to Nova Scotia. And then when the St. Clair power plant was being built, that's when our family moved here. And so it was the destination because Dad was going to have some work. So we moved to Marine City, and it was just a small 2-bedroom farmhouse out on the River Road. Did you guys ever hear of Bakersfield?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
where we used to play baseball all the time.
Yeah. So the ATVs and motorcycles, that we were right next door to that stuff. And then moved to a big farmhouse in town on Metropolis Street, and had about an acre and a half worth of land. And it was a barn. So, we could hunt and do all kinds of different stuff. Had a great time there. And then eventually moved out on the River Road near Roy's Boats, about a mile out of town. But went to Holy Cross, when I moved to Marysville, people would say Marine City.
I still get that.
Just settle down, would you? Okay. All right. But yeah, we the Idiot Circle. Let's see, got my license 16 years old, was a 69 Chevy Bel Air with a 327 in it. It hummed like a sewing machine, and
Nice.
I love to drive that through town.
Oh nice.
And it was fast, and fortunately I didn't get in too much trouble with it. But it was a social way of life back then. Easy times, you didn't have to have much more than the gas in your tank. And sometimes you might just park on the side and, mingle with the folks at the Edison or whatever. And, some of the nefarious things that we'd get into when we were younger that were pretty stupid, we were doing in town, and we were always told by the local police officers, were very respectful. What are you doing in town with this? So, but yeah, no, I also like to, Tony's Q. Do you guys know Tony's Q?
No, yeah.
Well, we're just old enough to remember it.
We remember it.
Last days, yeah.
It's like right where Roasted was, right?
Yeah, right in that area.
Or where the wine, the two.
I think it's the tax place now.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I used to spend a lot of time in there. They had snooker tables and the full length pool tables and
Regulation.
foosball.
Yeah, regulation.
Yeah. Well, I always felt like, because you go to the bar and somebody play you for $1. I felt like I was cheating because I was playing at Tony's all day, and that's like 8 foot, 9 foot table, and the bar tables were, half the size, it seemed
Yeah,
like.
I think they're 6 foot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I always thought, well, it was really good stuff. I actually made a deal with Tony my senior year, and some of the guys, I graduated in 1980 from Marine City, were all friends of mine too. But I negotiated that during our lunch hour, we could have the exclusive use of Tony's Q. And for one day of the week, I think it was Wednesdays or whatever. So we'd walk down there from Holy Cross, and it was just us in there. So it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of great memories hanging out downtown Marine City.
So you had you said a 57 Bel Air?
69. I think.
69.
69 Bel Air.
69 Bel Air.
And
Yep.
so that had a 327.
Yep. Yeah,
Same
you know,
engine they put in the Corvette later.
I think so. I'm not positive on that, but
Yeah, that's
yeah, it's the same engine as what's that my cousin Vinny, she's on the witness stand and she's
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh
Rick, can you
yeah,
tell them what it is?
Oh,
You
the
know?
positive traction. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
can
like,
never,
hey, that's my
ever-
engine.
Yeah,
Nice.
and you could never, ever.
What color was that car, Bob?
Blue.
Blue. And
Yeah.
two-tone? Did it have white, blue and white, or just all blue?
Blue, all blue.
You
Oh,
wax
nice.
that baby up, get it ready for a night out on the town, picking up some broads. Oh yeah, man, I can just see it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
they have the big seats, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What I like
yeah.
about his story is he negotiated in high school, so he knew, you knew kind of foreshadowing what you're doing now. You're
Yeah.
negotiating for pool privileges for the week.
Yeah,
awesome.
it was a lot of fun. Actually, my first court case was, I think I was 17, 1978. Went to, our class was a bunch of all the kids were like from huge classes. They're Catholic school, right? So they weren't,
Yeah.
big, 12 kids in the family, that sort of thing. And most of us were the youngest. And so we loved to play poker, and poker was always Friday night. And the idea was to make enough money on Friday night to be able to have a date on Saturday. And so you had to find a location. And so anytime we found out somebody's parents was going to be out of town, we'd like wait over there and until they left, and then we'd sneak in and we'd set up our poker tables and we'd clean up when we were done before they got home. And that's what we did. Well, this one night, there was some mosquitoes or something, and 17, not thinking very much. We're going to get rid of the mosquitoes. We're going to blow off fireworks in the car, right? So here we are sitting in this car, we're blowing off fireworks, and the smoke's going to get rid of these mosquitoes. And well, of course, one of the neighbors saw us doing that, and they called the local, troopers, and the troopers came in and we got tickets. And so we had to go to court. And my buddy was with me when I went to court. And so I'm in there, and first thing I do is I'm going to listen. What's going on here, So it was old Judge Kelly, not Dan Kelly, but the Kelly before him. And this guy was a real stickler when it came to tickets and stuff like that. So I'm listening, and there was a hearing that was held before us. And I heard a judge say, this ticket isn't written out properly. And if you're not going to do it the right way, then it's going to get dismissed in my court. Ding, So I look down, I'm looking at my ticket, I'm thinking, hey, I think that's the wrong street, And I said, hey, Joe, I got an idea. He said, no, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Said, yeah, just follow my lead. Man. Just follow my lead, And so we get our case call. I go up there. I said, Your Honor, I was looking at this ticket, and I don't think that this address is on here is correct. The cop was standing on the other side, like a Joe's hitting me in the elbow. Shut up, And next thing you know, the judge is like, you're absolutely right, son. And if you're not going to do this ticket, boom, case dismissed. And Joe's like, hey, judge, look at my ticket too. Look at my ticket.
Bob's in there. I see there's a precedent had been set by the prior ticket in front of me.
It was a quick precedent, but he picked up on it right away.
Hey, Mike, did you
Just
notice
listening, right?
good Catholic school boy? What does he do? Shoots pool at his lunch hour on Wednesdays, plays poker on Friday nights, and he's lighting off fireworks. That's a great Catholic school boy right there.
Not to mention the
I was
fact,
an altar boy, believe it or not.
yes, not to mention the fact that Bob got out of the ticket, and if Snoop Dogg had that, boom, that's how he would have walked out of the courtroom with a little swagger going on.
I wasn't thinking that way. I was just trying to think fast,
I know you probably had to go change. Probably had to go change your drawers because you soiled yourself because you.
That's funny.
Because you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it a whirl. Why not? Columbus took a chance.
I did.
What's your wackiest case? Like,
I was just going to ask him the same
or
thing.
anything like that. But like, what's the wackiest thing? You ever represent the Birdman?
The Birdman. No, I knew the Birdman. I didn't know him as a, you know what I mean? He was downtown when I was hanging out downtown. He'd come into the pool hall. Him and I knew Art Fink. Art actually went to Holy Cross. And I don't know if you guys heard him, but him and Birdman used to hang out quite a bit. And there was quite a different things that happened downtown in Marine City back in the 70s,
We know.
a lot different
Things that are legal now.
Yeah.
And things that happened in the 80s too.
Yeah, and the 80s too. Yeah. But no, I don't know. Weirdest case. I don't know. Good question. I had this guy that he had a peeping Tom case, and so he was looking in the
dang, it wasn't Fred, was it?
We said we weren't going to use names, Rob.
Bob, we're gonna have to talk after the show. Okay.
But anyhow, I'm not going to get into all the details about it, but he was being a peeping Tom.
Yeah.
What really struck me about it is I found out that he had one of those flying machines. It's not the guy that's in town now that uses it. I know it's not him, so I don't want anyone to misconstrue that.
Yeah.
But he used to fly around in these things, and I'm like, whoa, I don't know if that's a good idea.
He's got big old binoculars on.
Yeah.
No, I'd say one of my favorite cases was a segue into kind of the Lions here. So our family has represented a lot of building tradesmen. My dad was a construction worker. He's, like I told you, he came because of the St. Clair power plant, and my brothers were, and Kevin and Lauren, and my uncle Joey, my cousin Daryl. And so we grew up with a bunch of different union people, coming out to our house because Dad was kind of a big wig. He grew up a boxer, so he was kind of a tough guy. And so, when you're trying to build unions and back in the 60s, they need some guys that got, some muscle. And so I kind of used him for that. And so they would come out to our house all the time on the weekends. Dad had this huge cabin cruiser. And so it was kind of like a vacation for him to come out there, coming out of the city. And so we got to know him well. And as Bruce, was obviously started our practice, he worked for Art Sarowski. Art was a real estate lawyer in town, and it was the same office. And so Bruce came in there and he moved into the front office near the window. And that's right about when drunk driving became, a big deal. About 1981. And before that, it wasn't as big of a deal, but Mothers Against Drunk Drivers came out, and there was a big promotion for it, and there was a huge law enforcement with drunk driving back then. So having the relationship with the unions and all the the working men, and we both worked white ticket for them, so we knew construction workers and stuff like that. So was an instant business maker, so our business was basically founded on a lot of drunk driving defense. And so Bruce had that for I think about 8 years until I came out, and then I took over that part of the practice, and he took over on the personal injury. But I forget where it's going on that. Oh yeah, so the case I got was it was operating engineers were building Ford Field, and so it got close to the time where it was going to be completed, and they got to know some of the younger urban, power heads that were there. And so one of the guys, I can't say any names, he got a drunk driving, and they referred him to me. And so what happened was he went to the football game, took a limo home. He lived in Dearborn in a gated community, and they were having poker. And he decided he's going to get some pizzas from Domino's across the street. And so he got in his car, drove across the street, picked up like half a dozen pizzas, and got pulled over crossing Ford Road back into his gated community. Trooper pulled him over. So he gets arrested, goes to jail, calls me up. I do the investigation, and I'm looking at his case, And I said, looks like you requested a blood test. He said, yeah. So, one of the things with the drunk driving is back in the day, you had to take the officer's chemical test, but if you wanted to take an independent test, they had to give it to you. And if they didn't, it was grounds for dismissal. And so, we go down there, he tells me this, and I'm digging through all the evidence. I'm trying to find something that's, I can get some evidence that, shows that this is what he did. And can't find any tangible evidence, but I get him up on a witness stand and he testifies, yeah, that I definitely asked for a blood test and he denied me to give me a blood test. And so I went to this court, it's in Dearborn, probably 9 times. And this guy was kind of a bigwig with the Lions and stuff. And one of the things he had to do was he got to work at the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, and he wanted to be able to go. And so I somehow got to talk to judge into letting him break his bond and fly out to Hawaii. And so the deal I made with him, I said, hey, listen, just get me all kinds of signed memorabilia stuff. So he came back with a hat with all the quarterback signatures on the hat. I got a football from Emmitt Smith when he came out to play here, and jerseys from Brett Favre and all kinds of different stuff. So it gets down to it, and I'm like, we can't get any evidence to get it dismissed. And he's like, look, I just want to get this thing over with. And I said, you sure? He said, yeah. And so he ends up pleading to the impaired. So I go back and I get into the probation department. I start sifting through different bills and evidence and stuff like that. And lo and behold, I find this piece of paper that it's a bill for a blood test. And I'm like, I gotcha. I went back in front of the judge and I got to know her a little bit better because I'd gone up there so many times and I was asking for different things. And I'm like, Judge, I know you don't want to hear this, but I said, I found some newly discovered evidence that was not available before. It shows my client was billed for the independent blood test that he requested. She said, filed your motion, counsel. So I did. We held the hearing. Case dismissed.
Nice.
So I was pretty happy with that one. It was
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know that both you and Bruce do a lot of digging in your cases, and you've done a lot of good work for some of the local people. I know you've helped a lot of people that I know, and the people in Marine City appreciate having people like you and Bruce in the town, because you guys represent us very well. And the thing is that, I mean, the nice thing is every time you pull right into town, the first place you see is your place. So, yeah. So
right across from Gars, right?
Actually,
Yeah.
it's just you're sitting there getting snockered at Gars. You look over and it's like, well, those would be the guys that'll defend.
Just remember that name.
Yep. Yeah,
So-
but Bruce and Bob are sitting out in front of their door and they're seeing people come out of Gars. You go, hey, come on over here. Here's my card, just in case.
So Bob, do you and Bruce miss Morelli's as much as the rest of Marine City does? Remember the breakfast place?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was nice to be able, even if it's just to run over there and grab a coffee,
Yeah.
very convenient. But
Good little breakfast spot, that was for sure.
yeah, well, I think she did a great job, and she just got tired of it. And it was, you get to a point in your life where you're like, I just don't need to do that anymore,
Mhm.
Now you can go in there and buy a collar for your dog.
Yeah.
Or for one of your clients. Here you go.
Ooh.
Oh man, I can't talk about some of those. I definitely had one case where this gal, she got up on top of the desk, the library desk, and she started dancing. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. So I gotta open the door. I'm like, Lori. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think she might have been off her medication. But
Damn it, Bob. You should have led with that story.
Yeah.
You should have led with that story. That's the one.
I think that was appropriately put in, prioritized and done right. Bob did it right.
I like how he said that his dad was a boxer with the last name of Beaton. I mean, can you have a better last name as a boxer than Beaton? I don't think so.
Was his first name Justa?
Yeah, just a Beaton.
Well, let me just tell you that Bob and Bruce and Lauren and all them, they lived like kitty corner from my parents where I lived. So, and actually, the funny thing is,
I'm
you
sorry,
guys,
Bob.
yeah, I know, but they had a dog that we ended up taking that your family actually gave us. It was Tupper. Remember Tupper?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Tupper.
So Tupper kept coming to our house, and we didn't know whose dog it was. And finally, your mom and dad said that Leslie could have it, and we took care of him, and he became the family dog. So that it was kind of cool. But
Did you guys name him Tupper, Bob?
I don't know how he got the name Tupper, to be honest with you.
Because at the same time, we had a dog named Topper.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a poodle type dog.
Yeah, it was like a mutt, it was
Yeah.
like a
Kind of like you.
poodle. Yeah, kind of like me.
Yeah, exactly like Rob.
Yeah. But the other cool thing about the Beaton family too is Lauren. When he was young, he looked like Bob Probert, and sometimes he used to go in the bar, and people would come up and think he was Bob Probert, and he'd sign autographs.
Oh shit!
I never heard that before.
Oh my God! I
Wow.
swear to God, he looked. I mean, he had the
The mullet.
he had the party in the back and the business in the front thing
Yeah.
going on, and
Yeah.
Glassy eyes.
well, trust me,
Broken
you
nose.
don't want to you didn't want to mess with him or any of the boys, because they again, they will put a beating on you.
Yeah.
Funny story. Bruce was in law school at Detroit College of Law, and we grew up with boxing gloves, so we all, Dad taught us how to box and stuff. And so Bruce is going to Detroit College of Law, and they had this Detroit Tough Man contest. It was a big deal back in the day, it like
Oh yeah.
flew across the country. And
Mhm.
so it was at Cobo Arena. No, yeah, Cobo
Yeah,
Arena.
Kobo.
And
Yeah.
so, it's a fight where you're fighting 5 guys in a day, Hello. No, you're not supposed to. We fight every 4 months, maybe once every 6 months. Like, no, we're
Right.
gonna fight 5 times today, if you make it
Yeah.
that far, you know what I mean? But I remember going down there and watching, and he was like just a like the rock'em sock'em. It wasn't, no jab. It was 1, 2, 1, 2.
Haymakers coming in. All haymakers.
And he knocked out, I think, the first 4 guys, and then the last guy was the Detroit PAL Police Athletic League representative. And so he made it to the championship fight. And
Wow.
I guess it was a big deal in the paper because they wanted to make a big deal out of it. Law school lawyer, fighting for whatever.
Fighting a
he's,
cop.
he's looking at like, I'm going to make $5,000, man.
Right.
He's got like this Detroit YMCA t-shirt on and white shorts, and they're covered in blood now, by the 5th fight.
Nice.
Part of it's his, but most of it's every guy's. But so he gets into the final fight, and this guy's got like 100 and some odd fights in Golden Gloves, and he's polished boxer and stuff like that. And he ended up catching Bruce with a shot and knocked him out on his feet. I still think he won the fight by the decision, but they ended up giving it to the guy that was the polished boxer. But as a result of that, they had another tough man contest, a national one, and they held that at Pontiac Silverdome. So he fought in that one, and he got caught from this guy that had a roundhouse from Alabama. Again, got knocked out on his feet, but he gave it a hell of a fight. But then when he came back home to become an attorney, the local attorneys like Val Saff and Bob Foster, and those guys really toyed with him about the, oh yeah, you're the tough guy in town, huh? Like, they really harassed him. So it was a lot of fun.
Yep. All he had to do is stare at those two, and they'd wet their pants. Come on. And they're and trust me, Val and Bob are great men. And and Donnell Robinson.
We got a wonderful, we call it the Downriver Bar. There's the Bar Association, and then there's the Downriver Bar. And so we have Christmas parties, it's just us, and then sometimes some of the judges will come down and some other lawyers. And all right, quick funny story. Before I became an attorney, I think I was in college, and Bruce was an attorney, and I came home, and I went to one of the Christmas parties, and I won't say any names or anything, but let's just say everyone was being rather merry. And one of the older attorneys got out of the hot tub and grabbed his towel in the front like this. The problem was it was together up here at the belly, but it wasn't together down below.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy. Yeah. That was so
The
here's
water
Jingle
was
bells.
cold. The
Jingle
water was
bells.
cold.
Counselor, your junk is showing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, counselor,
I'm
yeah,
a
tuck in
college
your bubble
student,
gum.
right? That was fun.
Oh, good.
That introduced me to why. Then I knew, okay, these are the Downriver Bar Association party.
Yeah.
These guys are having fun.
A little edgy, huh?
Note, wear pants in the hot tub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, counselor, tuck your bubble gum in there. Yeah.
yeah.
Bubble gum.
Your bubble gum.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Oh.
Bob, congratulations as well. This year, you became the voice of the Vikings in Marysville, like I am the voice of the Mariners. And I just want to see, how did your first year go, and did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just to backtrack a little bit, Reddy, I'm going to go back to when we started the junior football. Back in 2000, Brian Mahaffey came to the office, and we helped him file the articles of incorporation, become a 501c3, and St. Clair Junior Football was the first junior football program in the area. And then the next year, Tony came and started the one in Marine City. And then in 2002, I was living up in Marysville, and I started the one there. I ended up in Marysville because my first wife, I met her in the House of Commons in Ottawa during a summer internship, and she was a French Canadian. And I thought, well, if you're going to move out here, I tell you what, I'll let you pick where we're going to live around here. And she picked Marysville because it was on the water, it was close to the border, it was close to shopping and the expressways and that sort of thing. So
Marine City's not.
You should have said you can
Yeah.
pick anywhere you want, just not Marysville.
Or just said you can pick anywhere you want, and when she says Marysville, say no.
Yeah, anywhere
St.
you want to
Clair,
live, as long
no.
as it's Marine City.
Yes.
Well, remember I was Holy Cross, so I
Yeah.
wasn't,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have that cross rivalry with the Mariners and the
That's
Vikings.
true. That's
So,
true.
But yeah, so I started one in Marysville, and all three of them are pretty much the same. They're all little league style, format. You get 4 teams at 4th and 5th, and you get 4 teams at 6th grade and 4 teams at 7th, and they play each other twice. It's a 6-game schedule, and at the end of the year, you have a playoffs. You got the toilet bowl, and you got the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I had a carpenter make the toilet bowl trophies. He had put a toilet seat on it with the lid open like that, and said toilet bowl champs. The kids loved it. I mean,
All right.
whatever you want to, we're the toilet bowl champs,
Yeah, right.
But it made for great fun for many years. And then, the numbers started to dwindle, and a lot of people were like, well, where are the kids? And a lot of people were saying, well, there's the whole scare with the concussion stuff. And I also realized that there was just a population had gone down. There wasn't as many babies, people weren't having as many kids.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't just football that was getting hit by the lower numbers. So, excuse me, I think it was in about 2018, we decided to join another league. I actually approached Marine City and St. Clair and tried to see if maybe we could formulate a league amongst us 3.
Yeah.
That we would us 3 leagues would, that would be enough to do it. It just didn't work out. And then there was the whole issue, that East China bond thing, and they weren't sure if they were going to be combined or not, so it just got to where I had to make a decision. And, as all good businesses are, it's the people behind you that makes you what you are. And I just have a lot of good people in my junior football program. And we ended up joining this league called Hometown Football. And I was surprised they were around as long as we were. They started like in 2000 or 2002. And it's basically the BWAC. It's like Armada, Elmont, Emley City, Croslex. There's also an Anchor Bay team. And so it's really worked out well, and we started an 8U team this year. It's the first time we've ever gone down there. And I really struggled with that, and I know there was a lot of concerns from people about, well, what time should you start? But we really, adhere to rugby style tackling. USA football. If you get a chance, if you got time, you see it sometimes in the commercials that it's the safe way. Football's never been as safe as it is now. When I tackled, I was an idiot. I learned to hit with my forehead, and that's what I try to do. My face mask was all tore up and it's all rainbows and chips on my helmet. My helmets would all be decertified every year because that's the way I was taught. But now we don't teach the head. We take the head right out of the game. Now it's like rugby style. And so it's really safe. And so I feel see these little kids, they're playing football. We're making it safe for them. And had a lot of fun, had a blast with it this year. They ended up winning the championship, the AU team did. But I've been announcing the kids' football games since the inception. And when I first started doing it, I bought a bullhorn from Radio Shack, and I used the band director's bandstand thing, and I'd move it out to like midfield, and I'm up there barking, and all I care is the kids can hear their names called out, And
That's
so
cool.
where I started the whole announcing thing was a bullhorn at the football field. And then it grew, and then I was able to get in the stadium. That's a whole different story. But stadium now for all of our games, which is fantastic. And all we got to pay is the custodian fee. And so we've been at the stadium for probably about 14 years. So that's where we play all our games. People love to come there, to play. And so I work the scoreboard and I do the announcing. And sometimes I got to be like apologetic because I didn't stop the clock because I'm talking and I'm looking at the roster and all that jazz.
See, and Fred needs a spotter to do the Mariner games. I mean, come on. He's doing all this, Fred, and you need a spotter.
Well, actually, I recruited a spotter this year for the varsity football games. So I actually used to call 2 games at once in junior football. We used to do we had a 4th and 5th grade division that had 4 teams, and so we'd play varsity scrimmage style from the 40-yard line, kicking. And so I always say there's the east end zone, and then I got to call it the scoreboard. I can't say the east end zone. And then there's the west end zone. I think, well, no, where the flagpole is, right? So the 2 games would be playing at once, and I'm like, oh, Wilson to carry on and watch 5 yards, touch one on the east side.
That's awesome.
That was, I tell you what, it was a treat when calling 2 games at once, but I kind of got lost with where I was going with that. But so I've been doing the announcing since 2002, and then Brian Stoynoff retired this year from the Vikings. And so, I had someone reach out to me and say, hey, are you interested? Yeah, I'm interested. Let me think about it, and I don't know what I was thinking about, to be honest with you. And I ended up reaching out to Freddie, and he, of course, this is, you got it, basically is what he said, and some of the different lingo and, tips, what to do, and come anytime you want, and I can, help you out, gave me extra confidence. And then, I'll never forget that first night. I think we were playing Elmont or Armada, a pretty good team. And Dennis Stuckey was down at the other end doing Stuck on Sports. And I just felt right at home. I knew that I made the right decision. I wasn't nervous. I like to entertain. When I was a kid, my oldest brother, Kevin, and we'd play games like PG ball, plastic game. And we'd set the picnic table up on its end, and we'd got chalk, and we chalked in a strike zone. And so, you're pitching, and if you take the pitch and the ball hits in the strike zone, it's a strike, right? And so we had rules like, pass the pitcher on the ground was a base hit, pass the pitcher in the air is a double, pass the home run marker on the ground as a triple, and ghost runners and all that jazz. And he was an S talker, right? He's like, on the mound, Raleigh fingers, and I'm so always talking this stuff through. And then we do the same thing, like table hockey. You ever play table hockey?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We were huge into the table hockey, but we were like talking, like announcing, like it was a real game. He shoots over to Wilson shoots, he scores. So that's kind of where my whole announcing thing started. And I like to I like to watch the people in the stands to see if I can get them excited. You know what I mean? Like you can tell, like they're fidgeting in their seat. And
you're baiting them, basically.
You're baiting them.
Yes, I do. I really enjoy doing it. Well, I want them to be excited. I wanted to
Right.
have a good time. Well, and it started with the junior football. So I could get away with a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I could do some color stuff. He's back to pass. Oh, the Wilson, he go do it. Oh, where's it gonna go? You know what I mean? Trying to get it more animated because some people there didn't really know football. Their kid was playing football, and that's their first experience doing it. And so then as Freddie pointed out to me and others that you can't really do that during a varsity football game. So,
Generally frowned upon.
yeah, I had to tone it down a little bit, but yeah, just had a blast. I realize now this year that because once I took the varsity on, I'm like, yeah, I'll do the JV. Well, there's a JVB. Oh, okay, I'll do that. And then of course 8th grade called. So I'm like, okay, I'm announcing all the football from 1st grade through 12th grade at Marysville now.
Wow.
So, and the thing is I mean, you start to get your chops when you start doing it. So, I mean, like you said, your first game, you're probably a little nervous, a little excited, but the good thing, I'm glad you reached out to me so I could tell you my experience. I mean, my first experience wasn't just doing the game. I had to announce that Ron Glodich and Dave Shield were being recognized because Dave, I was taking over after 31 years of doing the announcing. Had to recognize him. Ron had just got inducted into the Michigan Michigan Coaching Association Hall of Fame, and then I had to do the Hall of Fame inductions, which had Tony Scarselli's son in there and his daughter both in there, and I'm like, oh my God, I just wanted to do the football game, and I got to do all this in my first game. So let's put it this way: I was shitting bricks my first game. I was a little nervous, but
Bob, let's
it
ask
worked
you
out.
this. Just think of a call, like name a player, first down. Just say it how you would announce it. How would you announce? Just give us a little snippet of your announcing, what your voice sounds like.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's a major hit there. Boom goes the dynamite by Wilson.
Now, Fred,
Nice.
let's hear yours. Now, Fred's, because Mike and I always tease him, like his voice changes so much from like
He
way
does
he
the
talks here
announcing.
to how he announces at the game. Fred, let's hear your little snippet.
Number 26, Zach Tetler with the carry, brought down by number 55, Jason Smith. But the result of the play is another Mariner first down.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's the Freddie
That's
voice.
how the
That's the
pros
Freddie
do it,
voice.
Mikey. That's how
Yeah,
the pros do
hey,
it.
man.
That's
I mean,
how the pros do it.
Apparently, that's how they do it. Yeah.
That's a classic right there.
Yeah, it's classic.
Well,
The best.
I mean, all of us have been to, the Lions games. All of us have been to a Michigan or a Michigan State game, and you can hear the announcers, and the thing is that their voices are as iconic as anybody on the radio too, because you remember them. I mean, you go to a Red Wing game and you remember the announcer that would announce the games back when the Red Wings were winning the Stanley Cups with Brett Hall and Steve Yzerman and all that group. And the thing is it's always about not making yourself the soul of attention. The attention is to get the crowd pumped up about the players, and obviously with them getting a first down, it gets some of the people when they're just kind of sitting there talking, and you say, and another Mariner first down, they get more engaged, and they get back into the focusing on the game a little bit more.
Yeah, but you got in trouble for saying that in one game.
Oh, that is probably the funniest story ever. I got a call from the athletic director, Bob, and he goes, "Hey, I got to tell you something." And he goes, "And I think it's kind of funny." I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" He goes, "One of the referees from last Friday's game wrote a letter or an email to me saying that he thought me saying and another Mariner first down was kind of baiting the other team and taunting."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's like, "No." And he goes, "And I just want to let you know that I'm sitting here with Darren Letson and a couple of the other coaches, and we're all sitting here laughing because we just knew that you were going to say something like that." Because it's so stupid. I mean, every announcer has their own way of announcing first downs, and just doing that. So the funny thing is ironically, Craig Zimmerman does the JV games for Marine City. Well, he couldn't do it. So Jesse Laboon called me up and said, "Hey, can you come down and do the JV game?" And it was the week that I got the phone call. So I get there, and ironically, who's there refereeing? The guy that wrote the letter.
no.
So Craig Headley's sitting up there with me, and Jesse Laboon, who were just beyond livid about me getting talked to about what I did. And as soon as the Mariners got their second first down, I went, "And that's another Mariner first down," like that. And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." They're up in the box, they're going, "Yeah," and they're punching me and knocking me over. So Craig Headley likes it so much. He taped my voice doing that. And so every time I text him or call him, that's his ringtone.
Nice.
I'm like, I think that's kind of funny, but I mean, it was kind of funny because I'm like, oh my God, I hope all of a sudden a flag comes up and I'm going to get a unsportsmanlike conduct in the booth. God, it was ridiculous, but it's funny stories like that you come up with. But the cool thing for me too, Bob, if we ever get a chance in Marysville again or in Marine City where they get a chance to go to Ford Field again. And the cool thing is you get to go up into the box and help the press box announcer with the names of the players.
Oh, yeah.
So it was kind of cool. I got to do that 2 years ago, and the view from where I was at was just unbelievable. It was weird because I wasn't close to the crowd, but being up there for the full game and watching Marine City play Grand Rapids Catholic Central was pretty cool from there.
Is that the press box that's over by the away side, about the 50-yard line on the second level?
It's actually on the home side.
It's on the home side.
Mm-hmm. And it's up a level. I mean, and trying to get up there it's crazy. I mean, everything's uphill and behind the scenes at Ford Field. It's weird, but
it is on the home side. I don't know what I'm thinking. Yes.
Yeah, but it's cool as hell.
Yeah, we had season tickets in the club one year, and I remember looking down and you could see like the announcers right down.
What club, Bob? 200
Field Club.
Yeah, I had 200.
I've had probably 30 different locations at Ford Field for football tickets.
I had 200 or 202, and when you went up, they were at the club level where when you walk towards, I was like right at the goal line, but if you walk to 50, that was that big glass wall, and that's where the announcers were, the TV announcers. You could actually sit there and watch them doing it.
If only you could go there on a Sunday and watch an actual football game. That would be something.
Yeah, what the Lions doing for
I
field
think
other than the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
There's going to be one there this Sunday.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Buffalo is playing Cleveland in Detroit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did they make that announcement already?
Well, they posted it on a lot of, I think the 97 one, the ticket had it on there. A few different places said there.
Who's playing there, Bob?
Buffalo's supposed to get like 6 feet of snow.
Oh, and they're going to play in Ford Field?
So they're saying they're going to move it to Ford Field. They did that once before back in 2014.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe there will be a football game there on Sunday.
Well, that's why.
Well, here's
That's
the cool
awesome.
thing.
Didn't
All right,
know that.
hey, all you coaches that are in the background, you're staying here for this game because you're going to be scouting the Bills because that's who we play next. So
when does Watson come back? Because I saw him on.
Oh God,
he was on the practice field the other day.
Yeah, week 11.
He doesn't come back this week. Then.
No, I think was it week 10 right now?
He can't play until week 13. I think he practices this week 11.
Okay, practice 11, and he can start playing on the 13th.
Playing the 13th. Okay, that could change things for the.
I just picked him up in my fantasy league.
Did you really?
Yeah,
you are. You're. That's blasphemy. No,
well,
I would. Hey, trust me.
Hey,
I have Aaron Rodgers and Tyler Heineke on my.
Listen,
fantasy, so I'm
Bob's
good.
an attorney, and Bob is. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty.
That's right.
Yeah, just like OJ was innocent.
Actually,
Maybe if Bob was his attorney, he would get left.
Let's hear.
No kidding.
Wait, Bob. Let's hear your team. Who do you got? Give us your fantasy team.
Well, I'm in 3 leagues. I'm in a dynasty 12 player PPR.
Yeah.
And I've got a standard one that's got a keeper. And then there's the Beaton Fantasy Football League, which I started in 1989 at Gord.
Give us the Beaton one.
Gord's Bar.
What do you got in the Beaton? Who's your Beaton team?
Well, we're really a weird league, guys. We do.
Well, you're a weird family, Bob. So I mean,
Rob, you're looking to get a beaten.
I live in
Fourth
Florida.
and 2 or 3.
He lives in
outside
Florida.
this-
He can
I'm
talk
outside
shit
this
all he
zone.
wants.
Yeah.
So you gotta, in our league, we play all the way through the Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah.
So you play during the regular season. There's only 10 teams,
Yeah.
5 making it into the playoffs. And then you get to keep one player at each position into the playoffs. So one quarterback. It's also a 2-quarterback league.
Okay.
And so you can keep a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, a kicker, and a defense. So when you're doing your drafts in August, you got to be thinking playoffs. Because if you don't have a very good protected team,
Yeah. Right.
you do as well in the playoffs as a guy that's got a full mitt.
You're not
Nobody-
picking
nobody
a lot of
drafts the
Lions
Lions.
players. Yeah,
Nobody
you're not
drafts
picking a lot of Lions players. There's no.
Well, you got to
Jacksonville.
sprinkle in some point guys if you can too. You can't just all playoffs.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going
you're
to
still
take
not
Jack
picking the Lions if
Fox,
you're sprinkling.
You don't have
points.
Matt Goff as your quarterback.
Jared Goff.
I mean Jared Goff. Yeah.
I like to call him Jack.
Yeah, I like Jack Goff.
No, I don't. Let me see. My memory serves me. See, you got to also remember it depends on where you're at in the draft, right? So whatever value is there, you're going to take. I picked up the kid Jackson from Baltimore.
Lamar. Yep.
Lamar Jackson.
Quarterback.
And
Yeah.
because our scoring also allows for double points if they score extraordinarily. So if you quarterback runs the football,
Yeah.
double points. If a running back catches it, they get double points. These are all based off of what's called Miller Lite Fantasy Football back in 1989 from Gord's Bar. I was
Nice.
there. I took the bar exam and I was bored. I was just looking, went downtown, went to Gord's, and I look at this thing on the bar and it's like Miller Lite Fantasy Football. This is 1989.
That's the bar exam you're talking about. You were taking.
So yeah, so that they had all these different rules that they, said. And so we kind of kept them for the most part.
Yeah.
But the first year we just did total points. It was boring. We're like, no, we got to do head to head. And then we got to go, hey, we can't just quit at the end of the regular season. We got to go into the playoffs. So yeah, I got Lamar Jackson of Baltimore, and we do team quarterback as well. So I got Baltimore's quarterbacks. We got a lot of crazy rules.
What about if a quarterback catches a touchdown? Is that like
That's
triple
double points.
points?
Well,
Or just double point?
Double
Double
It
points.
scores unique.
That should be
Is that what you
triple.
said?
Yeah, or like a running back throws a touchdown pass. That should be triple.
Yeah. Who
Look
was
at
it?
Mike's already trying to change your fucking rules.
Yeah, change the
For
rules,
40
man.
years, right?
Hey,
40
Gord's
years. We've had these
reopened.
rules for 40 years, and he's trying to change.
Gord's reopened. You
Yeah, so
gotta
they
change
need
it.
they might have changed something up a little bit.
Gord's reopened. You got to change the
Well,
rules.
CMC just did the trifecta, right? He threw one, caught one, and ran one a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Tom Brady tried to catch a pass the other day.
He
Didn't
said
look
he stepped in a gopher hole.
Yeah, it didn't look so good. It
No.
wasn't. That wasn't really a good play.
No, not a good look for Tom.
I'm a
Trying to
Bucs
catch
fan,
Gisele in
and
passing now too. She's
Yeah.
passing him right
Whoa.
Yeah,
by.
yeah, with her jujitsu.
Isn't that funny? She's dating a guy that's a jujitsu guy. Probably makes like $100,000 a year. Can you imagine? Like
She doesn't need the
what is he-
money.
what is he
Yeah.
going to pay for though? I mean, like
She
really? I mean,
doesn't need it. She, that's not
Her
why she's
bar
dating him.
tab
I'm
when
sure
she goes out is 20 grand. I mean, what is
Right.
this guy going to contribute to?
she has more money than Tom Brady does, so she
Yeah,
doesn't
but
need the
don't you
money.
feel emasculated when your bitch is picking up the tab? All
Oh my God, Jesus, Rob.
Hey, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable in my masculinity. If she wants
I
to
don't
buy,
know.
let her
All right,
buy.
yeah.
I don't care.
Okay, so you're gonna pick up the bill. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go double fisted the rest of the night. I want you to bring 2 every 5 minutes until someone passes out, and then
every 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Sure. I don't know. I can't wait to find and see who Tom starts nailing. I mean,
I'm sure
he's gonna have a
I'm sure it's
bevy of
in
hot
Vegas. There's some
chicks
odds or something.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? They kept saying in the media, oh, who's going to get Gisele? Are you kidding? You know, all the hot tang it's been waiting for
Hot
Brady
tang.
to become single. I mean, oh my God, I can't wait to see that.
I don't think that they
carousel.
waited for him to get single. I mean, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
let's be honest.
Are
Come
you
on.
kidding? Are you kidding? They've had a calendar watch on that. The guys worked I don't know how many billion. He's got to be close to $1 billion.
No,
There's gotta
he's
be
not
some
worth
kind
$1
of base.
billion.
It's gotta be
When
some-
he's going to have a $375 million contract waiting for him when he quits. The money he's made in football. He's going to take some of Giselle's money because she made more money. So,
All right, let's look at Tom Brady's net worth here. I'll Google it while you guys are talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bob, how about some couple more memories of you have of the idiot circle? Do you remember any some cool things that that you used to do down there?
You know, we just more or less hung out, Freddie. A lot of stuff can't be spoken about.
Right, I get you. And he leaves it at that. Hey, short and to the point. Okay, I have a question for you. What do you put on your hot dog?
Oh
What do I
boy.
put on- Well, when I was a kid, I put the works on there, but more now it's mostly mustard. And
yeah, baby. There
Mustard
you
and onion.
go.
Did you hear that, Fred? This is a man that knows what the hell he's talking about.
That's right.
You don't
Bob,
put
I thought you were
ketchup
gonna say
on hot
ketchup and
dogs.
mustard, man.
No,
No,
our
come
thing,
on.
Bob, is you can put ketchup on a hot dog. It's socially acceptable when you're under the age of 12.
We like to rip on Fred for putting ketchup on his hot dogs. It's kind of our thing.
Fred, you know,
I'm not gonna say that ketchup isn't. You can't eat ketchup on a hot dog. I just prefer mustard and onions. That's all. And if I don't have
mustard and onions.
sometimes
Exactly.
I'll go relish. I'll put some relish on there.
Yeah, maybe some sauerkraut every once in a while.
Yeah.
Good coney.
Yeah, just had conies tonight, actually.
And
Conies.
what's in a coney? What's in a real coney? A little mustard underneath that chili.
Yeah, and onions. Mustard and
onions,
onions
yeah.
and chili. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that, Rob. Come on. We're all from Michigan. Hello.
All right.
Well, I have a feeling Fred sits there with Heinz ketchup and squeezes it on his coney.
Yes, he does, I'm sure. So
Well, I
Look
mean,
at him. Yeah, he's all.
we've all been downtown in Detroit, and
yeah, we have. So let's talk about the Lions.
Oh God.
Let's talk about the Lions. Fred, didn't you have something you wanted to ask Bob about?
Bob, what would it take to do a petition or some sort of litigation to maybe remove the ownership of the Detroit Lions, the Fords, out of their out of owning it, and they forcing them to
Make
sell
them
this?
forcing them to
Could
sell
they
it.
sue us if we started a petition, Bob,
I don't think
for
so.
defamatory? No.
I don't think so. I think
No.
I mean, they would know that it's not. It's not going
Not real. It's not,
They would know it'd be completely ineffective, so they wouldn't care.
Exactly. They would not. I guess what I would say is I would think they're smart enough not to take the bait.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we
well,
are
we know
talking
they're
about
not
the
smart
Lions
enough,
here.
but-
Yeah,
We're
you're
talking
talking
about
about
the Lions
people that-
organization.
You're talking about people that brought in Matt Millen, Daryl Rogers, Wayne Fonts, and
Matt Patricia,
and Matt Patricia to be head coaches. So
Martin Mayhew.
Mayhew,
He's
Quinn.
He's the one that fired my guy. That cut off my, highway to the.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that, and I knew that because one of his,
You're given enough pieces where someone could tie this story together, Bob. If someone really wanted to, they could work this back and then get to the person you're talking about.
Well, it's
Good news is
recorded,
nobody
so-
listens to this freaking
Yeah,
show. That's
no.
the good news. So you don't have
and
to worry
and
about
nobody that listens to this show is what I would call a sleuth. Okay, so they're not gonna figure it out.
sorry, Brock.
Sorry, Brock and
it.
Scott and
Oh, that's
Ruth
funny.
and everybody.
But so let me ask you this legally, and I don't think the NFL would ever do this, but could they force the Fords to sell?
well, we've seen this happen under different circumstances in other sports, right? I believe.
Have we?
Well, I think the Carolina Panthers owner was
Yes.
forced out.
Oh yeah,
And so was the Phoenix Suns and I think the LA Clippers.
Now, is that
Yeah.
because they're doing something like illegal or
I think there was
Racist.
racial.
Yeah.
racial stuff.
Depends on, there's different ones, and now the newest one is Snyder, right? They're really coming
Mhm.
after Snyder from the Washington Commodores, or what are they called?
command?
The Redskins.
The Redskins, yeah. Let's just
Just like the shirt I got on is the Hurons. They're not the Eagles.
Okay. Oh, I just seen
Like-
something, I was happy, although the Blackhawks are rivals, I was reading how their whole emblem came about, and apparently the first owner was in World War I, and his platoon was the Black Hawks, and it was named after Black Hawk, the leader of the Indian nation, and he was a war hero, and so on and so forth. So they're not like just going after the Redskins or something like that. He was a war hero, so
Mhm.
Yeah.
a lot different. So because I just see that there's a lot of people out there that are coming after different logos and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I'm just happy to hear that the Blackhawks got a solid ground. I don't think they're going to have to lose their logo.
Nope, they're not going to. Either are the Seminoles down in at Florida State, because Bobby Bowden was smart. Rob told me the story that he got with the Seminole Nation and has it in writing that they're proud of it. And I the other thing is I'm proud of Central Michigan too, because they've never had to change the Chippewa name, where the Eastern Michigan, Miami of Ohio, and a couple of the other schools had to get all different names because of the whole, the whole thing that
Well, yeah, but Redskins is a lot different than Chippewas or Blackhawks. I mean,
And
let's
Red
be
Hawk
honest.
could be referred to as a bird, with,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, but Bob, I mean, those you cited some very glaring examples of they mistrust of the public, right? But I mean, we're talking about just signing a petition to make a league fire or make them sell because of ineptness. I mean,
Is there any basis for just not knowing what the
Or
hell you're doing?
I would even just do one.
Bob.
I
70
would,
years.
I would just do one just to draw attention, where maybe it would get some notoriety and maybe wake these people up, because the greatest shirt ever made was, I think one of you guys, I think it was Mike, sent it and said the Detroit Lions, and it had a lion taking a dump, and it says the football team that shits on your Sundays since 1957.
Yeah, I'm well aware,
Yeah. Yeah, no shit, right?
He won their last championships, and then they traded him in 58 to Pittsburgh. And so that started the whole curse idea, right?
Well, it's funny because I also read somebody posted, isn't it ironic that since who was it, Peyton Manning and somebody else, they did an exorcism of the
Jeff
Bobby
Daniels.
Lane, Jeff Daniels, of the Bobby Lane curse, and they're 2-0 since then.
Yes, you're right.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
No shit.
They did it right in the end zone.
Yeah,
Bob, do you think the problem's been ownership?
Oh yeah, I mean the Lions. William Clay Ford bought the Lions. I believe it was November 23rd, 1963. The same
November 23rd. That's
22nd.
Oh, right around Thanksgiving.
It was right around Thanksgiving, and it was the same day as John F. Kennedy was
got
assassinated.
shot in 1963, but he got
Yep.
Wow, he bought them the same day.
Same day.
Wow,
He got approved the same day.
Wow.
Interesting.
Add juju right there.
That's a fun fact.
That's in my calendar, my iPhone calendar. Every year, whenever it comes up, I know that.
Maybe that's part of it. I mean, him getting approved on the day Kennedy was assassinated. I mean, that's a curse right there too.
We're 5 days. Yeah, we're 5 days away from the 22nd.
Ever since the Fords got their hands on the organization, it's just, what I will say this though, how interesting was it when Sonny had control, right? It looked like Sonny was going to, take over, and out of nowhere, Martha stands up and says, no, have a seat, son. Mama's taking over. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
William Clay Jr., he was like the face, anytime there was a big game, it was his face up in the box they were showing. It was like, he's going to be taking over. And then as soon as dad dies, mom steps up and says, no, you're not taking over. I am. Well, when she handed over the keys to, is it Sheila?
Sheila
Ford
Hamp.
Yep.
Hamp.
Yeah. I was pissed. I was like, are you kidding me? Does she know anything about football? That was just my small mind.
Well, it's like, does she know if it's pumped up or stuffed?
I mean, we're talking about the Ford family. Does anybody in that family know anything about football?
Yeah.
I mean, you
So-
might have to go outside of the family to find
So
somebody to run their
here's where my
organization.
gullible, Lions fan for life swallowed it up again when she hired Spielman. And I'm like, okay, he's going to
You're
be my
saying
right-hand
there's a
man.
chance.
He's going to be acting as my owner,
They should have
But,
hired him as the general manager, though.
yeah. Well, I
I know.
think this-
Brad Holmes. I think the jury's still out, but I think if you look at the last two drafts that they have, most of their players
Yeah,
are
but we don't know
panning
if
up.
it's him making
Was that a pun,
decisions or
by
not.
the way? Pun intended there, Fred? Jury's still out because
Jury-
Bob's on the show.
Meow.
I like the guy. I think he's got a good knowledge of talent. I think the guys that he picked up, I mean, we just got luckier than sin that Hutchinson was sitting there at 2. I couldn't believe they picked Walker, I think his name was.
Yeah,
I
Trayvon
don't know.
Walker.
Yeah. I'm a State fan, but I know football talent. I just think Hutchinson, we hit the home run there. I really liked Williams, what the hell? You never know. This guy could be when he gets on the field, he could be the real deal. I don't know. But I really liked when they pick up Joseph, because I was thinking I wanted to get a safety. And there
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of safety talent left out there. And when Joseph was still there and they took him, I was like, okay, I like that,
I agree.
And,
Then Rodriguez in the 6th round.
Rodriguez was the one, right? I mean, it was like you're looking at the tape on the guy and reading up on him. I think he was a 4-year captain and just a solid guy, and I thought that they will. Even that Mitchell, that tight end. I know he blew out his ACL. They weren't bringing him in to play this year. They're looking at, well, maybe down the road. And so when I saw Hawkinson was going out the door, and I get it, people are tired of the revolving door. You draft this guy and he's out the door. Some point in time, they've got to start nailing these draft picks. I'm hoping that these guys that we've taken the last couple of years are going to be the deal. And then next year, we're going to have to get the quarterback that's going to lead the team. And
See, that's the hard problem. That's the biggest problem because there's not a quarterback worth of crap in this draft. I don't care about CJ Stroud and Young, both of them. They're not big enough. They're scrawny. There's not a guy unless the kid from North Carolina comes out. That Dane or Day or whatever his last name is, he's putting up studly numbers, but he's kind of flying underneath the radar. I'd say if you can get a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round, that's great. But what their main focus should be is the defense. I think the offense is pretty much set other than the quarterback. But the problem is you look at the quarterbacks coming out today, not one of those, Stroud or Young, neither one of them, you're going to have to teach them to go underneath center because none of them have.
But you think the offense is set? You think we're set at running back?
No, I didn't say
we're set at wide receiver. I think we're set
No,
at tight
Definitely
end.
not at wide receiver.
Not at tight end.
Really,
either.
Williams,
No, not at
St. Brown, Shark.
No,
and
you're not
Reynolds,
set
yeah.
at wide receiver. Williams hasn't proven himself.
Well,
St. Brown is in the second year. I mean,
yeah, and
there's
he's
a lot to
and he's just going to go to the Pro Bowl.
Shark has
Oh,
done
I know,
nothing.
but
Shark's back. Hey, I'm
I
talking,
think
now
they're
running
not
back.
gonna
Hey,
win.
I wouldn't be surprised if they traded Swift in the season's end, and they trade Taylor Decker, and they bolster up and get even more draft picks.
Fred's been wishing they've traded Taylor Decker for the last 3
Oh my
years,
God.
but they won't do it. They're not doing
Nope.
it. No.
Yep. There's a new dance out that Taylor Decker came out. It's called the hold. You little shuffle, and you just hold your hand and you just do this through the whole dance. 'Cause that's all that fucker does is hold. He's holding.
Do you think they'll trade Swift?
Dude, sorry, but he's a pussy.
injury prone.
He's a
injury
pussy.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, yeah,
Who's
did you?
gonna pick
Hey,
him up? Who's going to trade with him?
well, trust me, somebody will pick him up because they need running backs. But the fact is
Cheap.
case in point, coming around the corner and going into the end zone against Chicago instead of rolling, dropping his shoulder and driving into the guy and he scores a touchdown. He tries to leap up at the goal line, like straight up, not like diving or anything, like straight up, like he was afraid to get hit. I mean, fortunately, we scored a different way, but and he just frustrates Deuce Staley. I mean, to no end. You see him, they always focus when he comes off, and Deuce Staley is in his ass every time.
Right. So that's my point. They're not set at offense. They can't just focus on defense. That was my point.
Okay, well, I'm saying that your first a few picks should be focusing on defense, because when you're the 31st or 30th defense in the NFL, that's what you should be focusing in on.
So the comment on the Dan Patrick show the other day was, why would someone trade Hawkinson into a divisional opponent? And Dan Patrick said, and I thought it was astute, he said, listen, you can trade to a divisional opponent when it's the Detroit Lions, because they're players that you trade off to them will never develop to hurt you.
Well, I disagree with that, because I think Hawkinson will actually have a good career there.
Yeah,
they'll actually use him. But you're talking
all
like
the
people
trades
like Kenny
they
Galladay.
made to get him. Will any of those trades come back to haunt and hurt?
You're talking about like them trading to get Williams, the draft pick.
Well, it's them. So they had to give up so many draft picks to get Hawkinson. And the general rule in the NFL is you don't want to give up draft picks to
I see what you're saying.
divisional opponents.
The Lions won't
They'll
develop
never
the
develop
draft
them
picks.
to come back to haunt you after you've traded draft picks.
It's
Well,
a safe
they just
bet.
did that in the last draft when they traded us the pick to get Williams, the wide receiver, right?
Yeah, to Minnesota, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
Minnesota was the one.
they fleeced Minnesota on that deal.
Yeah, we got Minnesota gave us the pick.
When they beat Minnesota, then you could say they fleeced Minnesota. They haven't beat Minnesota.
Well,
Like
they actually did beat.
Scoreboard.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. They outplayed them the whole game. It was Dan Campbell that cost him that game. So I'm just saying, it wasn't the players.
My uncle.
Okay.
Ifs and buts for canyon nuts,
Right. You guys with your sayings. But I will just tell you this, that I think defensively, I mean, obviously, if you're going to trade up, I was surprised that they took Williams. I thought they were going to take Jordan Davis. I'm surprised with the pick. We'll see how it happens. He's going to be on the field. They said he possibly could play at Thanksgiving or the game after that. So we'll see how that rolls out. But I think the key is they need a linebacker and somebody to stuff the middle of the defense. So I with one of those picks, I'm picking that defensive tackle out of Georgia, and I'm putting him right in the middle. Just said plug the holes up, because the thing is and plus we need a linebacker. So
why not Smith out of Michigan?
Who? Oh, Mazi Smith. He's a defensive end.
No, he's a tackle.
Well, he plays. Well, he stands up and plays. He does well. He's a possibility, but again, that kid from Georgia is the real deal. Actually, they think he is better than Jordan Davis. So I don't know. I'm one of those guys, where I don't know about you guys, and I'm sure you are. I'm sick of talking about the draft. Just because it seems like that every year that's all the Lions fans get to talk about or look forward to, because that's their Super Bowl.
We can't talk about wins.
Well, that's true, but they won 2 in a row. If they beat New York this Sunday, and of course
you're saying there's a chance.
Do you think that could happen, Bob? Do you think they could beat Giants?
Penalties and turnovers, right? We all football fans. If you got the right penalties and turnovers, anything can happen in a football game.
So?
Well, I noticed the Lions have made a big change. They fired, is it Pleasant, the defensive?
Yeah, Aubrey Pleasant, and the Green Bay Packers just signed him as a coach.
As an offensive coach.
How are the Lions
offensive coach? Really?
As an offensive court, yeah, as an offensive consultant.
Fred, how are the Lions against the run?
How are the Lions against the run?
Yeah.
The Lions,
because that's what you get with the Giants.
In the NFL.
The Giants, you get a big run package.
Okay, they're a 3-point underdog. They're playing in New York. New York has won a lot of their games by smoke and mirrors, but again, it's any way to win. Here's an opportunity for the Lions coming off of I know it was Chicago, but it was kind of a big win. It was Dan Campbell's first road game that he's won as the head coach. But the thing is, I don't see the Giants defense being dominant. Maybe it's going to come down to a field goal or whatever it's going to take. But the thing is they haven't been blown out of any games.
Bob, do you think at 3.5, it's the Sharps keeping that close to get Detroit money, and then it starts to wiggle up right before game time?
Yeah,
possibility. That's a prevalent. That's a good point, Rob.
Yeah,
like the one on the top of your head.
I don't know. They're saying all this weather is going to be hitting, Buffalo. I don't know what's hit. Has anyone said what's going to be happening in New York City?
In the it's not the
No.
Metrodome, whatever.
It's weird because Buffalo is like the snow just seems to, it's like a magnet for snow in Buffalo. There could be nothing going on anywhere within 50 miles of Buffalo and all the snow is dropping there. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think they get the lake effect.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No,
they get the lake.
you think?
Definitely.
Jesus, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Bob, we really appreciate you coming on the show. Hey, we appreciate some of the memories you have from the Idiot Circle, and again, congratulations on being the voice of the Mariners and talking a little bit Alliance
Voice of
football.
Marysville.
Or Marysville. I'm sorry, Marysville.
He's taking your job, Fred? I didn't know he was taking your job.
Yeah, I got you.
Congratulations, Bob.
Yeah, the
for taking
Fords
Fred's
just
job.
traded me to the Vikings for a couple draft picks, and you're going down there.
And a bowl of soup.
Yes, $18 on a record player. But
Full
hey,
haircut.
for everybody out there, if you like the show, give us a thumbs up on notification and sign up for the notifications so you know when the show is. It's also going to be on Facebook. Download. Hey, throw some topics at us. We'd love to have. Nobody listens anyway, but it's all good. But hey, Bob, again, really appreciate you coming on such short notice and being a good sport and joining the show with us.
My pleasure. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Good night.
Peace,
Kelly.
everybody.
Peace.